today we have the pleasure of speaking with none other than Gong Marley, aka Junior Gong. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You are?
Well, we know that you're the youngest of the Marley children, born in '78, right?
Yeah.
Do you think being the youngest gave you a bigger competitive edge, you know, within your music fraternity, you know, within your siblings?
I'm the youngest son, and I don't competitive edge. I mean, you know, you grew up with a lot of support. You know what I mean? A lot of experience around you. So in that sense, you know, like I said again, you have a foundation to build off of. You know, I wouldn't say a competitive edge, because you know, everything is still all about the music at the end of the day. Still, not really just the background, but like I said, you still have a backbone to work off. You know?
Okay, so I know that when you were about 2, that was when Bob died, and may God bless his soul. Do you feel like you were working at a disadvantage not having him by your side, teaching you the tricks of the music industry? Any disadvantage here?
Well, that would be difficult for me to say, because my experience is the only one I know. I don't know any other experience to compare it to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And realistically still, I mean, my father, you know, his spirit is still very much alive and working now, you know what I mean? And in that sense, there's been no shortage of exposure or advantages for me when it comes to musical career, where, you know, the family heritage is concerned. So,
I see what you're saying. Alright, so you are Junior Gong and Bob was Tough Gong. Tell me about the similarities in those names.
well, I mean, it really does come off of, you know, being more involved in dancehall music as opposed to the original orthodox one-job style of things. You know, usually you have a name that is different than what is your government name, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in that's really how we kind of search out and find that name. It kind of came about from an incident in Jamaica where somebody was trying to let me through a security barrier and didn't know my name but knew that I was Gong's son.
Okay.
So he was saying, you know, make space, Gong Junior, you know?
Okay.
So that's where we kind of get the name from still.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I have noticed, and a lot of your fans have noticed, that your style is slightly different than your siblings. Yours is more of a DJ style, while theirs is more of, you know, a melodic type of style. Why did you choose this genre?
I didn't really choose, you know. I think it's really when I grew up in the 80s, you know, as you know, I'm born in 78, so in the 80s is when dancehall music started to become the more dominant music in Jamaica, even on the radio. So a lot of my musical heroes growing up were people like Shabba Ranks and Ninja Man, Super Cat, Tiger, Professor Nuts, you know what I mean? So it's really that influence, you know what I mean? It's more so the music choose me than I choose the music.
Okay, so far your long musical career, you already have 3 Grammys. How does that make you feel?
Well, I feel very proud, you know what I mean? I feel like we're being rewarded for the work, so we give thanks.
Okay, yeah, I give thanks for it too. The legacy of Bob Marley, that's carried on by you and all of your siblings. Do you feel like that's a big pressure, that you have to carry on such a great legacy?
Well, I think the legacy is being carried on by more than just me and my siblings in that sense. I mean, the whole reggae, you know, hold my father name in very high regards, you know what I mean? And people in general, when you walk around, you see his face on all different t-shirts and posters all over the world, so it's not really we alone. You know what I mean? And again, like I said, my experience has only been my experience and I know no other. So I don't know how it is not to be Bob Marley. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, we all know that in Jamaica, family is very important, and especially to the Marley family. You guys are so united, you know, such a big set of family people. Stephen worked on your album, and you are now working on Julian's album, right? How is that going, Julian's album?
Well, it's going pretty good. He has a couple of tracks done, about half dozen tracks. You know what I mean? Julian does more acoustic drums as opposed to program, like, you know, digital rhythms. Yeah, so, you know, the project is coming together nicely. You know, it's taking a little time still, but it's coming together. Yeah.
Well, we see that you have a big heart within your family, but also to your bigger family, Jamaica, and you're working on the Jamaica Leaf of Life project. Is that it? Jamaica Leaf of Life Foundation for kids with HIV.
Oh, well,
Tell us a little bit about it.
that is something that I did back in about 94, 95. You know what I mean? There was an album put together. At the time I was affiliated with Spectrum Music, who usually managed Shabba Ranks and Pasha and those people in those days. So they put together an album that the proceeds of the album was going towards these foundations that you're speaking about. So that is really where the involvement came from, you know, with that project.
Are there any other projects you're working on now?
No organized projects in the sense of, you know, we have Urge as a family charitable organization, you know what I mean, and of course Bob Marley Foundation, Gong Marley Foundation. But we ourselves as youths more deal with what I like to call unorganized charity. You know what I mean?
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about your debut album. It's been doing like really well, but it's
My
been
debut
doing,
album?
Yeah, but it's been doing like really well in Hawaii. Did you even know that you had fans in Hawaii?
Yeah, man. Well, my debut album came out in '96, you know, so everything there is to know about it I know already. You know? But yeah, that's where the album really was appreciated, I said, the most, you know what I mean? Was in Hawaii.
And also the album after that, Halfway Tree, you know, we all know about Halfway Tree where the two towns meet in the middle, uptown and downtown. Is this a representation of your parents, you know, Cindy and Bob?
It's a representation of me.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to say that I am like the halfway tree in the sense of, because then again it also relates to my parents because of where my parents come from. You know what I'm saying? So that's really how it comes.
On any of your albums, you know, who have made great contributions to where you are today?
Everyone that is on the albums, everyone. I mean, every moment of life has made a contribution to where I am today. You know what I mean? Because experience in life is what makes you who you are. You know what I mean? So every making that come up really. So it's from a friend to, you know, to our aunts, you know what I mean, to my mother, to, you know, to Jack. So it's everything.
So your album, Welcome to Jamrock, it has been doing like really well in Jamaica, in the United States, and in Europe. Could you tell us a little bit more about it? About the whole album?
Well, the album itself, I mean, you know, like you say, it's the most successful album we've had commercially so far. You know what I mean? A lot of that success is due to the single. You know, the single did really well at the radio, Welcome to Jamrock. You know what I mean? It kind of really happened, evolved on its own. We didn't really have a plan to push it to American radio and push it in that sense. We just release it and take a life of its own, you know what I mean? So we give thanks to that. It put us in a position now where we can express ourselves in a way we really want to, because a lot of our songs are about the struggle and it's not really what you say typically radio friendly. But because being known now for Jamrock and being accepted for that, it's opened up, you know, people's ears a little bit more to what we are dealing with just naturally from ourselves, you know, so that's good.
So do you feel like a lot of people knew that side of Jamaica? Because from an American perspective, they might only see like the tourism side of Jamaica. Do you feel like it opened up their eyes?
Well, yeah, I think it did, but I mean, you know, I think the most important thing is because a lot of conversation in Jamaica itself, you know what I mean? Even more so than what happened outside of Jamaica. It's more so, you know, even people in Jamaica saying, me as a youth that grew uptown, have this point of view where we can see this is a reality of what's going on down here. It kind of spark all the conversation in the island. So that is what I think is good thing.
Okay, one more thing, a quick question for you. My favorite song on the album, you know, Till Shiloh I Shall Not Forsake Thee, was that a tribute to God or to your mother, or who was it a tribute to, that song?
That again is that related to the question we asked earlier about what has contributed to where I am now. It's a tribute to everyone.
Okay. Well, you've heard it from Damian Jr. Gong Marley himself. Junior, thank you for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Yo, Damian Jr. Gong Marley right now, you're locked with On The Spot. Hear that? Rastafari.